basically, a network engineer, when he works on Cisco firewalls, Cisco ASA, or load balancers, for example, big IPFI, or any other technology. So in cloud, who is going to take care of load balancing or routing, or do we is on AWS or Azure? Is there any vendor integration also, or AWS has its own technology to support load balancing of applications, or the routing part, or security part, or firewall part?
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. I think this is a very good question. This is a project I just completed today morning. I handed over a proposal on this. If you want to get, network related stuff, if you want to do that thing on the cloud, AWS provides you some base services. Like AWS provides you a service known as a virtual private network, which is like isolated network in your entire data center. Similarly, if you want to use the gateways, AWS provides you multiple gateways of various forms. It provides you VPN gateways, internet gateways, NAT gateways. These are pretty much the same things which your networking terminology has. If you want a firewall, AWS provides you a firewall, which is of its own. There is no supplier and a vendor provided thing is not there. Now if you want to go beyond what is there, beyond the vendors, beyond the AWS based services, you can always get, as you told, Cisco ASA is there. You have alert logic, log manager, alert log, threat manager. You have McAfee, various softwares which will be installed on servers, and that will be given to you as a Azure AWS machine image. So if you go to marketplace, let me see if I can quickly show you a marketplace thing here. So I'll just come to this section here. I was just trying to, here if you do it right, come to AWS marketplace, right? And here you have thousands of machine images which are available. Similarly, Azure has got its own, marketplace. If you want a Cisco ASA, right? Just type here Cisco ASA and enter. You'll primarily get a Cisco related machine image. So these are all the options which are available for you. You can basically look at it. This can come to you in a machine image format, or it can also come to you in the form of a SaaS service, wherein you just consume this service from Amazon. So here it is saying delivery is in Amazon machine image. So basically it gives you a machine image which you can use to provision a machine on Amazon Web Services. Got it? But you'll have to get your own licenses of Cisco. It is saying BYOL.
Got it, Brother Jabbar.
Okay. Now the thing is, similarly, are there any developers here in this forum? Please raise your hand if you are a developer. Okay, there are no developers here. Is there a disturbance you're seeing from my side?
Yes.
Okay, just give me a moment. Yeah. So this is how it is. Are there any developers here in the group? Okay. So this is how it basically works out. If you are a database administrator, primarily the primary task you'll be doing is a cloud migration and architect a database service there. And if you are infrastructure administrator, you'll be doing the basically the infrastructure management in the terms of infra automations and cloud assessments and adoptions and architecting the target design on Amazon. So these are the various career options which are there for you. And career options that you do is, if you are a 15 plus year experience, you can become an IT leader with
I
cloud
can't see
experience.
your screen.
So you can do a cloud advisor, you can do a cloud evangelist role. If you are, it all depends upon how deep you are into the skills. If you are a technical hands-on person, you can always become a cloud evangelist. You can make your own cloud services, cloud applications, tools and frameworks and evangelize them. You can become a cloud advisor, saying, you can give a cloud strategy to a particular customer. And if you are a solution architect with relevant experience, you can become cloud solution architect. And if you are a 7 to 10 years experience guy, you can become a cloud architect. And anyone from 1 to 7 years of experience can become cloud engineer, and security engineers can become site reliability engineers, and various other roles are there. So this is primarily,
I cannot see your screen, sir.
yeah, please. Someone had question.
No, no, like I can't see your screen.
Hey, you're not able to see the screen.
No, no, no.
Let me just share it. Okay, hope you'll be able to see my screen now.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
So if you want to become a cloud architect, what it takes primarily, you got to have operating system knowledge, become proficient in at least Linux or Windows and understand how the cloud services operate. Then basic know-how of SQL, Go or Python or .NET languages. And then, understand the networking. This is a very critical area of cloud. Generally, people fail in understanding the networking concepts on cloud, and they mess up the things. Once you have a clarity on network, compute, and operating systems and programming languages, you only need to map them to the appropriate cloud service. Like if you need a server, what are the various options which are there on cloud? If you need a database, if you need any other application service, what are the various options which are available on the cloud? What are the architectures? All these things, if you know, you'll end up becoming a cloud architect. So cloud architect is one such area which you can think of. There are cloud developers, there are cloud sysops, there are DevOps, multiple other options available. Now here, if you are a DBA and want to get into the cloud area, this is how the roadmap would look like. You basically do some trainings on Oracle Cloud or AWS or Azure, and these are the certifications that you can do, and some mature frameworks that you can follow to land into the cloud. So basic work, you got to get a good grounding of all the cloud services, the various tools which you use, whether you use a Terraform, you use Ansible, you use Chef, what are the specific CLIs, what have to be used, and the utilities. And the cloning and batching activities that you do should be through the cloud utilities. And then you do some specializations in terms of services, in terms of cloud orchestrations and DevOps, tool integrations into the cloud, and some specialization on platform as a service. And some niche cloud services is definitely securing the cloud databases. Security and network are very niche in the cloud side. People who are good at security are hotcakes. So this is for the database administrators. They can be SQL DBAs, they can be Oracle DBAs or any other DBA. Developers and testers, similarly, you got to undergo some trainings, some certifications here. And probably this has to be Azure developer, not an Azure administrator. So by mistake, I have written this. And pretty much it's going to be the same thing. Infra admins also, it's going to be the same thing. Now, What do you mean by application modernization, right? Cloud basically gets a lot of scope of modifying your applications to basically make it more closer to cloud. And any application that is deployed on cloud should be completely cloud based. You should not look at any on-premise site. For emails, it doesn't have to look at the corporate outlooks. It doesn't have to look at the SMTP services which are provided on-prem. If you are doing authentication of the application, it doesn't have to look at the on-premise Active Directory, etc. So all these things, if you are building your application or migrating your application to cloud and infusing cloud services within that, it is known as application modernization. There are some scenarios wherein the complete architecture also gets changed. You split your monolithic application into microservices. Those microservices are either deployed on containers or they are executed through serverless using API gateway calls. So this is the complete cloud native architecture. So application modernization is one thing and cloud native architectures is different thing. Application modernization is to infuse cloud services into your application, which is hosted on cloud. Application making it cloud native is to follow some principles of cloud native architectures. You are basically re-architecting your application. So these are various services which you can infuse in your application. If your application doesn't have dashboards, you can primarily make use of Amazon QuickSight or Azure Power BI. You can use translation services of Amazon. Transcription is basically speech to text conversion for real-time call processing. And then tech stack basically are OCR solutions which are available. If you want to have a chatbot, you can use Azure Chatbot or Amazon Lex. And Azure DevOps is one complete DevOps tool framework for you. On AWS, it is combination of multiple services such as code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline. And there is one thing known as Code Star, which gives you templates to basically start any new application. There's AWS Amplify. So there are a lot many services that you can use to primarily make your entire application look modern or modernize your application. And you can also think of making a cloud native architecture. So this is one of the applications that I had migrated. It's a reference architecture. So you'll get confused on the number of arrows you are looking at. We are looking at number of arrows here and stuff like that. So this is how it's going to look like. So you have publicly facing load balancers which take in the requests which are coming from a corporate network. These are typically internal application which is accessible only for the employees of a given company. So basically they land into your Amazon Web Services VPC through a direct connect route, and those are intercepted by load balancers which divert their load to web services of a given application. They can directly talk with database, or they can uh, pick up all those things. So this is a public cloud architecture for the same. It's not in a VPC. It's in a VPC, but it's not basically comes out of it. So this is one of the AWS migration and modernization, project which I did a couple of weeks back. So I think this will take some time for you to absorb, right? So if you have any questions, probably we can take it up now. I'm getting a call. Yeah, so there is one question here. The question is, what is SAP and what comes under operations? SAP is primarily, ERP application, is a enterprise resource planner. It has got a number of modules within it. It basically, manages the entire business processes of a given company, like order to cash, invoice to cash, payment to procurement, record to report. There are a number of business processes which are there, and applications which support these business processes are known as ERPs, which through their modules. And when you talk of operations, right, when you basically go live on cloud, right, so the cloud services have to be managed. You would need some cloud operations teams which basically take care of those activities. They have to be, on premise. If 10 people are doing that work, on cloud side you need at least some 2 to 3 people to take care of that, because cloud by itself takes care of multiple things, but on the top of it you would still need some lights on support to carry out their activities. So that is what we mean by operations. There's nothing much on the screen to be shown, so that's the reason I have stopped screen sharing. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, so let me quickly ask you some questions, right? If there are no questions from your side, then let me get. Yeah.
Excuse me, Assalamu
Please.
I have one question. For me, for example, I have 15 years of experience into net. That includes the regular routing and switching and security. So, what certification will suit my experience level, that matches my experience level? Is it a cloud practitioner or a more advanced certificate?
Cloud practitioner is a very basic, college guys have to do that certification. If you are an experienced person, especially if you're coming from networking background, then you please focus on doing a cloud solution architect, or you do a cloud sysops. And if you are further more interested, please go ahead and do a cloud security or cloud networks specialty, because cloud networks are one of the most complicated things which generally no one understands. Not even 5% of the cloud administrators understand the cloud networking concepts. So if you are, specializing in that area, you'll be really a hot cake in the market.
So I can start certification, like I can do AWS associate level certification, and then go on to getting certified on the uh, solution architect.
Solution architect is the first examination that you have to do. Solution architect associate is the first examination that you can do.
Okay.
And after that you can always get into multiple specializations, like let me just share my screen and show. It will make it more meaningful.
Yeah.
So here is what we mean, right? Here is the basis, very basic kind of a foundational certification that you can do as cloud practitioner. If you want to become a solution architect, like just do solutioning on the cloud, you can take the architect route of it. If you want to do cloud operations, SysOps administration is a certification that you want to do. You can provision services, you can maintain services, you can configure services. You want to do, use APIs which from the various services to basically use those services in your application. You can become a developer if you are coming from a developer background. If you are coming from a technical or a release manager, or if you are from the release management team, you can think of getting into DevOps engineer or DevOps field of cloud. Similarly, if you are a very experienced network professional, then advanced networking specialty is the area which you can look at, or security specialty is something you can look at. So these are the various areas which you can think of. Similarly, the same thing applies for your Azure also. In Azure also there is an architect track, there is security track, there is a data track, there is an artificial intelligence track, and multiple other tracks in Azure also. Any other question? Okay.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Like I have a question. Sir, like I work in a call center and I want to start my career in cloud computing. So, like, how you want me to move?
So basically, you have to look at becoming the cloud practitioner first, and
Okay.
go for a solution architect associate certification and SysOp administrator. Do you have any development background? Do you have any Java skills or .NET or Python, anything as such?
Okay. No, like I know a little bit of HTML, CSS. Like I'm
No.
learning JavaScript.
So then developer will not be a good role for you. You basically look at cloud practitioner and SysOps administrator. These two things
Okay.
can be good things.
Okay. So, like in SysOp administration, like what we'll do? Like,
This is basically cloud administration, the typical infrastructure administration guys, server management and storage management, basic network management, etc. I will be doing that.
okay, okay.
Sir, I have one question. Recently I had interview uh, with a multinational company, and they asked the basic question that explain us how you are going to. I mean, the role was for DevOps engineer with 5 years of experience. So they asked that how you are going to set up infrastructure on cloud. My understanding was limited to the basic framework of DevOps that includes CI/CD activities. I mean, including Jenkins and setting up the pipelines, etc. I tried to answer those things, but they were not impressed. They were more interested into looking into, I mean, about Terraform, etc., Kubernetes. So I want to understand, sir, that how we should link if I want to move my career to DevOps engineer. So apart from AWS or Azure certifications, what are the other uh, uh, you know technologies that are important to learn? Uh, Hello, was I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible but little bit low.
No, I was speaking on mute actually. Yeah, hope my voice is audible now.
Yes,
Yes,
your
yes.
voice. Was my
Background
question
noise.
clear?
Yeah, question is clear. Very much clear.
Thank
So the thing here is, see, people generally are tricky, right, when asking questions. So the way it's going to work here is primarily when they ask, how are you going to set up the cloud, right? This is a very vague and open-ended question. What they want to set up, first of all, is the question. I basically start setting up a cloud. If they ask me, I will do a design, how my infrastructure, how my application will be hosted on cloud. So for that, I would need something known as a cloud account, right? The first and the foremost thing is a cloud account. In AWS, they call cloud account. In Azure, they call it as Azure subscription. In OCI, they call Azure tenancy or multiple things. Within the cloud account, what I will do, I will create something known as a VPC for me. And within a VPC, what I will do, I will create various subnets and I will create subnets and multiple other internal elements of a VPC like a security group or something like that. Okay. I will create a security group attached to the instances. I will create a subnet. Within the subnet, I will, create multiple security groups, or, I will create various instances, right? I will create an instance. I will create a EC2 instance. EC2 instance is my basic thing, right? I'll set up multiple, RDS instances here. And for various RDS instances, I will be doing, I will be attaching security groups to each of the things. So this way I will be basically, first making a design. I'll get a designed security sign off first thing. Let me just write it here. First thing is you'll have to have an approved design. You got to have an approved design. Then you get AWS account provision. Account provisioning is not compulsory. There may be multiple accounts in which they will be giving you the thing. Then you have VPC creation, provisioning of various services. Now, if you want a DevOps related thing, then you'll get your Jenkins architecture ready, or you can have AWS services such as the code commit. This is basically for source code repository. You can do a Jenkins architecture setup, or you can have code commit. You can have code build, code deploy, code pipeline. So these are the AWS DevOps services. On the Azure, you'll have a similar thing known as a Azure
what
DevOps.
about the Docker, sir?
Dockers are all part of your, this provisioning of infrastructures. There are no Dockers. Dockers will be, on AWS are known as containers, which can be an EC2 or a Fargate model. You can have your EC2s, RDS combinations. You can have API gateway and Lambda. So these are the three options if you want to go ahead on the provisioning of services. Either you provision them as Dockers. Dockers will become containers on AWS. You will have EC2 RDS. These are plain servers and database kind of concepts. If you want to have a serverless architecture, then API gateway and Lambda are your options. Hope the points are clear.
Yes, sir. So basically, say for example, if I am opting for the AWS, so even separate Jenkins installation will not be required. Jenkins services can also be offered by AWS, and totally I can rely on AWS, and I can say that AWS offers everything that a DevOps setup needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either if you want to do your setup, you can do it. Otherwise, AWS has got multiple services which take care of everything.
Okay, sir. So how this, because they were more interested in knowing my skills in Terraform. I was not aware about Terraform, etc.
So Terraform is something provisioning language primarily. If you want to create cloud account, create a VPC subnet, you'll have to basically get into the cloud console, and you do multiple things here, right? You come to S3, you say create button, upload button. There are so many buttons. Your fingers will, really go bad if you click so many times. There are so many options that you have to select while you are provisioning anything. So what Terraform gives you is Terraform gives you something known as a Terraform module, which is like a template which you can use. If you want a particular architecture, you know that the architecture is there with you. Only thing is you need to provision them. So Terraform is basically a provisioning language. Using the features of Terraform, you can, within no time, if you have to click and create so many services here, it will take hours for you to provision machines. Supposing you want to create 100 servers, if you keep on clicking, giving various options, going to EC2, selecting the options, there are 6 screens that you have to navigate while you are creating this thing. So with Terraform, you can just go ahead and provision the services like that. You just update a notepad file, upload it onto a Terraform server, and there are a couple of commands you execute, and you have the complete thing available for you. So the complete AWS architecture is there, or Azure is there for you. Yeah. Are there any other questions, please? So what I would suggest, the organizers of this event, I am ready to do one session every month on cloud on various subjects. So let's have some regular connects, and the people who want some guidance are always open to come. But please don't disturb me during weekdays. If you have any questions, I will be available once in a month. You can join that call, and you can get it clarified.
Yeah, that will be great.
Those all who are interested in getting their cloud queries answered, I'll be okay to do a 2-hour session every month, and there you can come and get your clouds related questions clarified. Okay, can we close this if there are no more questions?
So one last question about the scripting skills. So, I mean, when we see JD on Naukri and all, so they also ask that you should be good at scripting on Python or Perl, etc. So, for a person like me, I'm in testing. So, what is basic requirement in scripting skills? Can you please suggest on that?
Pardon me?
So my question is about the scripting skills also. They ask that you should be good at Python scripting or shell scripting. Now for DevOps, how far, I mean, to what level we should reskill ourselves in that front?
Scripting skills per se are not needed for a experience level like you, but it's always good to have Python skills. Please practice as much as Python you can practice. Look at the internet and get some Python related scripts which can help you provision a complete AWS VPC, provision your EC2 instances, provision your containers, your Dockers, and all those things. There are a lot many code snippets which are available, and tell them that in our company we don't write scripts. So we already have a bunch of cookbooks available with us. Chef cookbooks are there, Terraform modules are there, which you just run it and basically have them up and running. For a person with 5 years of experience, it would be too much to ask for scripting and all those stuff.
Okay, sir. So if you're going to conduct next session, I would request to include this Docker, Kubernetes, etc., like how they are different or how they are related to each other. I think in the last session also we talked about
all these sessions. If you want to do, please arrange face-to-face sessions, because for me to prepare slides for all these things will take some good amount of time. If I do a whiteboard session, I can really do them real quick. So if you want to have next sessions, please plan for a in-person connect.
okay, sir.
Okay, guys. If not anything, we are good to close. Okay, then I think we'll call it a day. Thank you, everybody.